Yeah, buddy. Welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. We are less than a month away, folks. Now, this will come out probably a week from now, so it might be even low. We might be 3 weeks away. It doesn't matter. It's close. My head's spinning. We're so excited. I love this. And I'm excited tonight for another show with another group of rookies coming here to the Expo this year. These guys got a great product. Don't be confused or taken back by the Bettor in green. They're not all sports betting folks. They've got their own fantasy guide as well. It'll be coming out in a week or so. I'll let them talk about that later. But this is the group from Bettor in green: Ben Bentley, Wyatt Batdorf, and Ethan Bainbridge. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here. Really looking forward to you guys coming to town here in less than a month. So I'll go around. I'll start with you and introduce yourself. And just basically say where you're from, where you'll be coming from, from the expo, and then we'll kind of start talking about your guys' history in the industry. So Ben, we'll start with you.
Absolutely, Bob. Thank you first off for having us on, man. I appreciate that. Everybody that tuned in, also thank you guys for watching. My name is Ben Bentley. I'm from Missouri. I was born in the Kansas City area, so I'm a big-time Chiefs fan. Growing up, we had the Rams still at the time, so you didn't
We've
get
had some
Chiefs
Super Bowl
games.
winners. See, we've had not. And I look at Ethan when I say that.
but I'm a big-time Chiefs fan living in the St. Louis area.
Got it. All right, Ethan, obviously a Lions fan, so I feel your pain, I feel your suffering, but tell us about you and where you're from. I know it's not Detroit, but it's close enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Ben said, really appreciate you having us on. Did a lot of dusting this past year, got all this stuff out of the closet, was able to boast it loud and proud after I finally a division title. But yeah, from Grand Rapids, Michigan, born and raised in Michigan. So diehard Detroit Lions fan my whole life. Yeah, that's
perfect. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Wyatt, talk about you've got a Commanders on, so your Washington team has won some Super Bowls. I don't know if you were alive when they came around, but be that it may, at least your city has some. So tell us about who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Wyatt Batdorf, like you just mentioned. I am actually, and me and Ethan, we'll get into our history back here in a second, but me and Ethan actually grew up 15 minutes down the road, and we didn't find that out until about 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan as well. I am a bandwagon Commanders fan just because I go to a couple games and I put on the shirt. I also have a Ravens shirt because I put those on, but I am a true Lions fan. And like Ethan from Michigan, felt good last year. I don't know if we can, the NFC North is going to be a great division. I'm so excited for that. But yeah, live in DC, just outside DC in the Virginia side, moved here about 4 years ago.
No, I agree. I feel like the two North divisions, AFC and NFC, are just going to be a wild ride. Anybody has a chance, I mean, even the Steelers, who look on paper like not to be the best team, as long as Tomlin's that coach, man, he just seems to get things done. So who knows? Yeah, both the North divisions are going to be interesting. So as I mentioned before, I always like to start and kind of go back for you guys to when you started playing fantasy football. Who got you involved? What year was it? How many years you've been playing? Just kind of tell me about that start. So Wyatt, we'll start with you as the person here. Talk about your experience of getting in and finding out and getting your feet wet in the fantasy football world.
Yeah, so fantasy, I don't know the exact year. It was probably 8th grade or freshman year of high school.
Well, 3 years ago.
Yeah, no. Close. Like, I don't know, 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. Right. High school buddies got me into it. Nothing super serious, just a couple high school boys getting into it. And then that just has continued all the way down. Still have the same exact league with the same high schoolers, which is awesome. It's going on, what are we at, 16 years or whatever that is. So, and I don't talk to half the guys, but obviously when fantasy football comes around, we start talking. Played in college, now play with these guys as well. So, yeah, probably nothing super serious with the fantasy. Got in with a couple of my friends back home and stuck with it. It's addicting. I'm on the waivers every, what is that, Sunday at whenever that late game ends. Yeah, I'm fully addicted.
Fully addicted. Yeah, we wouldn't be here if we weren't all in that boat. So, Ethan, talk about your first time getting into the fantasy world.
Yeah, I think for me it was 2004, right around then. So I was only about 10 years old. My family had a league, parents, aunts, uncles, brother.
Oh wow, you had the whole family. That's great.
Yeah, cousins. Even we had a neighbor in there for a little bit. And they just had an opening one year. I was probably the biggest football fan in the family, even at that time. So I took the spot. Now I've grown a lot since then. Believe it or not, on my 2008 team when the Lions went 0-16, I had basically all Lions players. I had Mike Fury. I had Roy Williams.
Yeah, you learned about being a homer and how it doesn't work out well.
I took them all. So that was a rough year.
Yeah, sure.
I've gone from finishing last every year to now I do pretty well here and there. But yeah, it's grown. I have friend leagues now, work leagues. I'm still in that same family league. Some have come and gone since 04, but the core is still there. So same as Wyatt. Very involved in fantasy ever since I got started, and honestly don't think I'll ever stop.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, Ben, let's go back to you for your beginnings, humble beginnings in fantasy football.
Well, mine's probably later than these guys because mine didn't really start till I was in college. When I went to college, I went back to the Kansas City side, and I actually went to school where the Chiefs training camp is. So they stayed in our dorms. One of the players forgot their playbooks in my ex-girlfriend's room. I'm not going to name names who it was. Andy Reid, don't come after me. But we had fun. We just walked down to the training camp. And I remember I had this like Chiefs ball, and I went up. I got signed by, I had to write it down because I couldn't remember the guys' names. Kevin Hogan, Frankie Hammond Jr., and Marcus Cooper. So in that moment, I became the first person to actually lose money by having pro athletes sign their thing.
The value of football dropped below the value of the actual football. I love it.
It did. Walmart didn't want to know. It did want it back. I looked it up too. I remember I was like, Marcus Cooper did have one big play. That's when he got traded to Chicago.
I don't remember any of them.
No, he fumbled at the back of the end zone on a kick return, and that's like the biggest play of any of their careers.
Points -4.
Yes, yeah, terrible, man.
Oh, great! That's good stuff. It's good stuff. I love it. No, great stories. Yeah, I won't even tell mine because you guys weren't born with that. So anyway, let's talk about how now all of this fantasy love, goodness, time spent learning, getting better, being more prepared, led you into this wonderful new place called Better and Green. So Ben, we'll start with you this time. Talk about how you three kind of created this Better and Green, and then we'll talk a little bit about about what it is, and maybe if each one of you want to talk about your specialties within the group, that would be cool too. So Ben, we'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually started underneath a different company, and it was me, Ethan, and another guy. Got to give Ethan credit for the name. Ethan came up with the name for us. So Ethan and Wyatt, they had their own show, and then me, Ethan, we had our show. And I would watch theirs, and I was like, God, Wyatt's hilarious. Like he makes good content too. We need to get him in. So eventually, the company that we were part of disbanded. And we're like, let's keep Better Green. Let's build it up. So now we have different shows. We have like our football shows now called Intentional Lounging, which is just an elite name. We've got Tapping Vegas, Power 5 Picks, which Ethan and Wyatt do for college football, which is excellent. Getting Technical College Basketball. So we cover everything now. And I can't wait for football season to be back. But at the same time, I know that's about to be a lot of work for me because I come out with let's see, trade articles, fantasy football pickup articles, DFS articles, and then we do our shows every week. So the amount of content that we put out during fantasy football season is just at a crazy level. I think we've been around for a little less than 2 years. We have over 830 posts on Instagram.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's
awesome. And all of our stuff, we don't repurpose anything. That was one of the big things about Better and Green is when we made it, like so many of these NFL meme pages and a bunch of these type of social media sport pages, they'll post like the same thing. So we follow 5 different accounts. They're all posting the same clickbait
Right.
article that just gives you a bunch of ads. And we're like, we don't want that. So we only post stuff that we make. We're pretty big on charity too. Like I said, we've only been around less than 2 years. We've already donated over $1,200 to charities.
Nice.
We do like before the kickoff season, and we do around Christmas time. And I mean, these guys, they help me out with it, and just,
it's cool.
I mean, Canton Photoshop's my big thing.
I love it. I love it. Are you guys, any of you in the Scott Fishbowl stuff? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Love
so,
it. Karate Kid.
Yeah, I was in the live draft in Cincinnati last weekend, and it was a blast. It always is, and anything that we can do in the fantasy world for charity, I think, is just great. So hats off to you guys for that. So, all right, Ethan, talk about you being part of this and your specialties in the Bettor and Green family.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start by saying Ben didn't even give himself enough credit. Ben is very heavily involved in the back end as well. Wyatt is too. They both do a lot of the editing for the shows. Ben is fully involved with basically every piece of Bettor and Green. Myself, I'm not as much of the creative content creation, if you will. During football season, I do get pretty involved in the writing piece. I have some recurring articles that come out more so during football season and some other sports that are going on in that time. And then I think the betting aspect of it is kind of my bread and butter. It's become a huge hobby for me over the last 6 or 7 years, and something I take very seriously. I track all my bets. I can basically know how I'm going to end up in a season just based on track record. And I think as far as betting knowledge and trying to teach others to be profitable bettors long term, I think is kind of my aspect to the team.
That's cool. That's very cool. And that's definitely what a lot of people need. They just feel like, I just throw a lot of money at this, and it's still betting. It's still a risk.
Yes.
So you got to be careful, and you got to be smart about it. So no, that's good stuff. Wyatt not Wyatt. Yeah, Wyatt. Yeah, it's like Wyatt. Wyatt. Obviously, you're the worst bettor of the thing based on your. I assume that's your Twitter handle. Yeah. So talk about your experience here with Bettor and Green and your specialty within the group.
Yeah, so I have always been in sports. I played college football. I coached college football. And then with the legalization of sports betting, it kind of drew all my attention towards that kind of aspect, like Ethan. So I actually got my, social media started over on TikTok. I know I sound like a younger person saying that. Those people on TikTok now are much younger than I am, and I have a hard time keeping up. But that's kind of how I started my fame / really not any fame there. But my whole kind of gig was worst bets. This is right when sports gambling was getting legalized all throughout the country. I don't even know how many states we're up to now, but at this point, I didn't know anything about sports betting. I can bet on a team legally now instead of going through a book like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I just kept losing and losing and losing. And then at this point, I was like, this is almost comical what I'm doing. So then I started making videos about it. And that's kind of how my social media kind of got going and introduced me to these guys. So I would say my specialty is more that short video form. I post a lot on TikTok, Instagram. I do tweak a decent amount, but kind of that social media aspect is kind of what I bring to this team, and a lot with that I do. I know Ben does a lot on the social media as well for Bettor and Green and behind the scenes there. And Ethan does over on his Twitter as well. So kind of that, that comical thing that Ben said. I wouldn't say I'm funny. I would say I'm more of an idiot that just makes people think I'm funny. But
right there with you, bro. My wife says all the time, "You're an idiot."
But football has always been deep in my heart. It's my favorite sport. Obviously, favorite sport to bet on. So I do bet on everything. I do have baseball bets going right now. I don't want to talk about them. But football is by far my bread and butter and where my passion is.
So it sounds like what you should do is post all of your bets that, since you lose more often than not, and then we all just pick the opposite,
exactly.
Right?
I've been trying to tell people this, and they refuse.
You can sell that, and that
I know
that's still a win. I mean, not for you. I mean, you got to make the money to pay for your bets, but right. You get my point.
I do. Yeah.
As long as you're consistent in something, it can be used. If you're consistently bad, then everybody bets on the opposite side of you, and we all make money, and we thank you for it. That's why I'm an idiot too. Anyway, good stuff, guys. I appreciate that. So you're coming to the expo, first one. Really excited for you guys to be here. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's a great time. I mean, from 6 p.m. on Friday, August 9th, when the first party starts till, the expo ends Sunday at 4. But then if you're staying Sunday night, which I hope you guys all are, then we have the after party, which is 4 or 5 hours of karaoke. So I don't. But these people go ape shit crazy over this stuff. It's so funny. Like that, for some people, that's the highlight of their weekend. And I'm like, that's not the way this is supposed to be. But
no.
But they do. They just last year, they had the first couple years, they all went somewhere, and there was a couple of small bars that had it. And the one bar they went in is like the size of this bed, this office I'm in, like 8 by 12 or something. It's just teeny tiny. They took like 60 people into that thing. Like, they showed the videos. These people were like this, all singing Sweet Caroline and going crazy. And, so then last year I said, look, guys, I mean, I appreciate your excitement over karaoke. I don't care, but they do. And I said, but look, I hate to have you guys out there driving and drinking. And, when you're in a strange town, you don't know the cops, where they're at, blah, blah, blah. So last year we moved it into the actual hotel and did it from there. And that was fun. And it saved a lot of people from having to worry about driving. But the problem was the hotel made us stop at a certain time because of noise, which I hated. So this year we're going to be 2 blocks down the street, have our own basically private event in a bar in the basement, which is massive. Nice. So we won't have to worry about stopping. And, karaoke guy's a good guy. He'll keep playing if they keep singing. So there might be a stop time, but it won't be like 11. It'll be like 2. But anyway, good times will be had by all. But yeah, so it's just nonstop, a lot of fun. Maybe you guys can start hooking up with some guys on Twitter and create your own. We have a flag football tournament. You guys look like you could play some flag football. So that's a lot of fun. We do that inside the dome on the field. You'll start seeing emails about that. I'm trying to round up some more teams so we have enough. We usually do a double elimination. We do kind of a fun I call it mini college overtime. Like, you start at 35 and you just have 4 plays to get to the end zone, or so that, so it doesn't take forever, but it's a good time. So like I said, lots of great stuff. But talk about how you guys heard about this, how you got involved, what drove you into making this commitment to come to the expo this year.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to go.
I would say if you look up fantasy football enough on Google, they'll run into your stuff eventually. so that's how I found you guys online. I've been following you. I looked at you last year. We talked about it a little bit, and we were just like, we just didn't think we could make the commitment. But this year we partnered with Draft Kits as well, and they're like, I've used them personally for a bunch of years, and then eventually we ended up partnering with them. They saw the draft boards with the stickers and all that. Cool. So we got a table out there. We're going to be, selling our draft guide, selling some draft kits. And I mean, I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Anything, Ethan, Wyatt, on, what you guys saw out on the social media world that drove you this way? Yeah. Or just Ben dragging you there?
Ben is our fearless leader. So he is, I would say, Ethan, I'm pretty sure you would agree with this, he is our main fantasy football guy as well. So and Ben is the brains and the operating behind that fantasy guide as well. So he said he brought this up to us, and we thought that was a pretty cool opportunity. So
well, and the fun thing is we have the sports betting Saturday this year from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday in the dome, set up exactly like the Sunday event. And it's great that you guys have. So Ethan and Wyatt both talked about your experiences with sports betting. So, we'll definitely get you guys on some of the panels and, have you share your knowledge, or lack thereof, Wyatt, in your case. I mean, you talk about, here's all my worst bets, and everybody can just go. But no, you guys can come and be on some panels, and, I think it'll be a good experience to show off your knowledge, because that's what, people will be looking for is, hey, who can I trust in this industry that, can make me some money and help me manage and, do the right things. And I think that's what that's my goal of this is, it's not about, hey, we want you to bet more. We want you to bet properly and and manage it and think about it and, make a little money, no, you're not going to quit your job and get rich. Sorry. But, it's just like DFS. I mean, you could win $1 million, but you could also get struck twice by lightning. You have a better chance. So, it's the same thing. So we're excited that, you guys are going to be coming to this. So, before we kind of close this up, do you guys have any questions for me as first timers? Like, hey, Bob, I kind of wanted to ask you, and if you don't have any, that's fine. I mean, I put you on the spot. I should have brought it up earlier, but any questions for me that I can answer before you get there?
You guys got anything to start?
I guess my question would be just, what kind of made you take that leap to get started with the whole expo? How many years were you thinking on it?
So I've lived in Canton all my life. So I've been 30 years, 3 miles from the thing, but I grew up here. So, I watched, my grandma or my grandfather and my father took me all the Hall of Fame games and all, used to watch the Hall of Fame inductions. They had it on the steps of the hall, and you'd bring your own lawn chairs and sit across the street up on the lawn to watch it. That would everything. We had a parade, we had a game, we had inductions all in one day on Saturday. It was great for us. They had a parade as a kid. You're like excited, but it wasn't like, I was like, oh, this is awesome because I'm 10 and there's, Fran Tarkington, Roger Staubach. I mean, guys that I watched in the 70s, playing football and here, so to me it was like this amazing thing. But then when I got older, then it started getting bigger. And then 1990, I became a volunteer driver for Hall of Fame weekend. And for the last 34 years, I actually retired after last year. I've driven all kinds of Hall of Famers: Al Davis, John Madden, Kurt Warner, Champ Bailey, Brian Dawkins, and met almost all of them at some point, whether it's just sitting there listening to them tell stories, shaking their hands, ask them questions. And so, being on the inside, I watched, I got to be a part of that. But then I also got to see how the Hall of Fame weekend went from this little 2-day tiny event into this 5-day extravaganza with 25,000 in a stadium watching inductions live on ESPN, 250,000 people at the parade. We're like the largest non-holiday parade in the country. Into this, football game and, concerts, and it's just this whole thing. And about 10 years ago, I was, 10 years into my fantasy, video or content creator. So I started, kind of getting some street cred with a lot of the bigger names, the ESPN folks and CBS and, all the big names in the industry. And so in my head, I started thinking, well, why don't we do like a week, like a 3-day weekend, like a Hall of Fame weekend? Maybe not that size, of course, but, and then I'm an accountant by day. So I've been to a lot of business expos, where you go and, there's all kinds of trade show booths and there's panels on, how to do better at business and accounting and, all that kind of stuff. So all of that kind of came together in my head of, what if I put all of this together into one weekend? And so, and then in between that, I threw in this King's Classic draft, which is bringing in the best of the best into town to draft live in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I got SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio to broadcast it live, and that was 2018. And that went so well that I brought up the idea about adding the expo the next year to the guys and said, and they're like, yeah, we love that idea. That would be fun. Yeah, we'll have, and then it became a 3-day weekend. And so, and that's where we're at. So, it was just kind of tying that all together. But in my head, it was always like, Canton, Ohio is a perfect spot. Why do we not do this?
Right.
And yeah, so that's kind of how it all came to fruition. I never thought it would get this big this fast. I figured 10 years from now would be at 500, 600, 700 people, not 3. But here we are. We're year 5. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
What goes in on the back end? Like, how is it just you running it? Is there a bunch of people that put this on, and how do you fund everything? Is that all through the booth costs?
Well, so I get a lot of sponsors,
Okay.
so we have like a title sponsor and, stage sponsors and, so I try to get the sponsors to kind of help cover most of the cost, and then ticket sales and that cover, kind of everything else. I make some money on it, but, again, I'm not quitting my job because I wanted to make it affordable to folks coming in. When I heard about some of these other, and I was in the one thing, the booths were $2,000 for a booth for the weekend. And, it was title sponsors, 25 grand. And I'm like, 90% of our world is us, people that have full-time jobs. We do this for a passion. It's something that we just love doing. And we don't have that kind of money to throw around, the big boys do, but, yeah. So, like you said, when I created this, it was, I want the big names to come because I want them to be a part of this, and they do. But I really didn't I created it more for us so that, because again, I was there trying to promote my brand, my consistency guide and my stuff. And, there were people to help me now, not monetarily or not, with expos, but I felt like this is a great way to get people together, to network, to share their ideas, to share their brand. And, a lot of people have gotten jobs, companies have been merged and, so that's exciting to me. That's not what I really expected it to be, but it's a cool add-on to it. So, so that's kind of how all this all kind of put together. Yeah. But yeah, I do 90% of it. I get all the sponsors. I handle all of these expos, the podcast. I've been sitting here all night working on panelists and panels and what times and who's coming. And, this is my last 30 days that I do this kind of the fine tuning of, making sure I've got all the, back end stuff and, work with the Hall of Fame Village for the venues and the parties and, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of work, but, it's also a lot of fun. It's like, you always say it's not work if you enjoy it. Right. So
right.
I enjoy it. And, my kids are all grown out of the house. My wife's a big help. She helps me with a lot of stuff. And then that weekend, and you'll meet her as you check in. She's my COO for the weekend because I have to do my stuff. And so she makes sure we've got all these volunteers, friends, neighbors, my mom, my kids, their significant others, friends of friends. They all get put together and turn it into a really nice weekend that everybody seems to enjoy. And yeah, it's just a great time. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Do you have any like big names that are going to be there? Are you able to release that?
Well, so we always have, Bob Harris from Football Die Hard, Mike Clay from ESPN, Dave Richards, CBS Sports, Andy Behrens from Yahoo usually comes, but he's going to the Olympics this year. But it's okay. We're getting Matt Harmon and Scott Pianowski from Yahoo to come, so it's okay. We like those guys too.
Yeah.
Dave Zachariason from Late Round Quarterback. There'll be some folks from the only person that usually doesn't make it is Matthew Berry because he's Matthew Berry and he's got to be on NBC Sports doing preseason games on the weekend, but he loves the event. Oh, and we don't get the fantasy footballers. They love the event. They are very jealous that they can't make it, but they've shook my hand, gave me a hug and said, Bob, we love what you're doing, but there's no way we can take that kind of time off that time of year to come in, but we love you. We support you. We're jealous of all the pictures and the fun times, but, usually Howard Bender from Fantasy Alarm, he can't make it this year. He was there last year. We've had John Hansen from Fantasy Points. Other guys from Fantasy Points always make it as well. Joe Dolan, trying to think, Jeff Ratcliffe, Jeff Mans from Guru Elite. Trying to think who I'm missing. Not too many. But yeah, basically all outside of really Barry footballers, other guys are there. Field Yates doesn't come in because ESPN basically sends Mike, but Mike's awesome. We love Mike and he does an amazing job and we always appreciate him coming in. I don't know if you have any ones you're thinking of that, you guys follow or like. I can tell you if they're going to be here, but that's the big ones that I know. Most all the sites are, RotoWires, Roto Worlds, NBC Sports, all those guys, usually are coming in town. So
That's
If
awesome.
I'm understanding you, are you saying that Taylor Swift is not going to be there?
Taylor Swift will not be in until at least not until Travis Kelce retires, and then we'll get him to come,
Right.
and then she can bring him with her.
Yeah, there you go.
We did have Dak Prescott here last year.
Awesome.
Not Dak Prescott. Jeez, Des Bryant.
Okay.
Okay. I'm kidding.
So Des Bryant, yeah.
Des is awesome.
So Des had a fantasy product that he wanted to promote. And so he reached out to me actually and said, I'd like to come. And we worked out a deal. And he came and spoke, played in the flag football tournament. He was the quarterback of his team, not the receiver. And they still won.
Yeah.
I know it's shocking, but so yeah, it was a lot of fun. So Des was cool. He won't be back this year, but it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping someday we'll get, some other folks, like that, either former players. I mean, Hall of Fame, we work at the Hall of Fame. Obviously they're hoping that, some guys might be around, maybe a straggler, I never know until last minute. So it's just a surprise to you as it is me. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun and I just feel like, hey, if anybody big shows up because they heard about it and it was fun, then that's great. So, but no, it's cool. You guys, any other questions? I appreciate that.
You guys?
No?
I'll have
good. Well, thank you again, guys. I'll let you each go talk about your, social media contacts, the website, anything else you want to promote, and then we'll just kind of take it out from there.
Yeah. So don't follow me. You're just going to get reposts of Better and Green. You don't need to follow me. Follow Better Green on Twitter. All of our social media is BETTOR Green. That's also our website, bettergreen, BETTORgreen.com. That's where we post all of our articles. That's where you can buy our merch. I got one of the t-shirts on right now. We got a whole bunch of stuff we sell. That's where we sell our draft guide too. Right now, it comes out July 19th. You can get it for 50% off. So it's only $10. And we spent so much time. I actually think me and Wyatt were having problems with it today. I think I crashed Canva with it. I think it's over 140 pages. So I think I'm like pushing the boundaries of what this website can handle. So I mean, if that's not enough to make you buy this thing, I don't know what will be.
It's so good. It's so awesome. I saw last year's version. It's amazing.
Yeah, really. And it's even bigger and better this year. Make sure you come see us at the booth. I'm giving out a couple hundred cups, and all it's going to cost you is a YouTube subscription. So come. We're also giving away a free. Really nice. They're like these nylon draft boards that are reusable that last like up to 10 years. So we're giving one of those away. I got a signed frame Jonnu Smith picture and maybe some Better and Green merch as well. So all that in a raffle basket. So come see us.
Good stuff. All right, Ethan.
Yeah. Second, everything Ben said about Better and Green. If you follow one Twitter page, one site, go follow Better Green. Really appreciate all the followers that we get over there, YouTube as well, subscribe. But my personal Twitter, eBainbridge26, I tweet out all of my official sports bet plays on my Twitter. So I'm very active over there. I get into some fantasy football content as well as the season approaches. So usually screenshots of my team and some other, transaction things here and there. So eBainbridge26 is where I'm the most active over on Twitter or X.
Wyatt? Yeah, it's Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm calling it Twitter. Elon can kiss my butt. I'm just not calling it.
Yeah, Better and Green. Also, Instagram and TikTok, we post a lot of funny, especially come NFL season. We post a lot of funny recaps. Ben's usually the head of that one. College football recaps over on TikTok and Instagram as well, just for a short video form as well. My personal page is Worst Bets, at Worst Bets. That's on all socials. Again, I do post all my plays there for free. Again, my advice would be to take the opposite. Not everyone understands that. You would think with the name Worst Bets.
Yeah, you would think. It kind of is obvious to me.
You think, yeah, this guy just tweeted. Says, yeah, just take the opposite. You'd probably be a pretty wealthy man. But yeah, super excited. Thank you for having us on too. We're super excited about this event. And super excited for getting our name out there in Better and Green.
Awesome. All right. As always, I'm Bob at Bob_Lung on Twitter. At the FF Expo is the expo site. If you haven't got your tickets, what are you waiting for? It's 3 weeks away when this thing gets posted. So get your tickets, get to Canton, Ohio, hang out with all of us, check these guys out at their booth as well. So when I click this button, as most of you know, you're going to see all the socials for all the FF Expo stuff, as well as the ticket site as well. So thank you again, guys, for being here. Everybody, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.